Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9,
WORD.
the voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome to the program on your Tuesday afternoon. Glad to have you along with us as usual. Really appreciate you tuning in. Here we are in 2026. And boy, I tell you what, we got craziness happening everywhere. We got more to tell you today about the Somalian fraud that everybody over on the left claims has nothing to do with Somalians. We've got California under investigation for fraud. We've got Maine under investigation for fraud. It just seems like this is, 2026. Somebody said it over on the text line yesterday, and I appreciate that, that this is going to be the year of accountability. And we can certainly hope that that is absolutely the case. Because for far too long, too many people on the left have not been held accountable for their actions, and now maybe, just maybe, they finally will be. But what does that actually mean? Accountability. I don't know about you, but I consider accountability meaning somebody got to go to jail. Now, I know there have been 90 indictments in Minnesota over fraud. 60 people have gone to jail on that. But it is so unbelievably widespread. All right, yeah, okay. The person that had the little Somali daycare that was committing fraud, yeah, they should go to jail. But you know what? Let's take it up to the next level. Let's take it up to the people in the state of Minnesota, in the Minnesota government, in the government of Minneapolis. Let's see some of those people go to jail. Let's see the people who, like Keith Ellison, like Tim Walz. Let's see some charges against these people because they knew it was happening, but they let it continue. Now, their defense is going to be, we knew it was happening. It was all under investigation. You can't throw me in jail because they were complicit in it. They were complicit in its execution, and they were complicit in their silence of it happening. This stuff has been, when you look at Nick Shirley and the job that he's done, that's been fantastic. It really, really has. But he was not the first person to report on all of this fraud going on in Minnesota. He had several of those news stations. They've been running stories about this for a long time, and nobody paid attention. Nobody cared. In fact, you had people denying it was even happening, and that's exactly what's going on right now. People are just denying that any of this stuff is happening. One of the news outlets that did virtually no reporting of all the fraud going on in Minneapolis and in Minnesota and in Maine, like I said, and in California, is, of course, NPR and public broadcasting, public television. They ignored this. Why? Because we know that they were, listen to the word I used, were governed by a bunch of radical leftists. And the last thing you want, if you are a radical leftist, is to be considered or labeled as Islamophobic, or a new phrase, Somali-phobic. Now, I haven't heard that phrase before. I may have just coined a brand new term here on the program at 3:10 in the afternoon on Tuesday, January the 6th. You're just, Charlie, you're just Somali-phobic. That's all you are, Charlie. You're just Somali-phobic. Well, isn't it interesting that the vast majority of these cases do surround the Somali community? That's not it. Listen, it's happening way too much to be a coincidence. I don't like coincidences because, honestly, I don't really believe in them. I don't think you can have this many things happening at one time and it not be part of a plan. And that's exactly what it is, just part of a big plan. Get the Somali, and look, we've been talking about this for a while. How they've been importing the Somali community, and the Somali community has been taking advantage of the American taxpayer. This was a concerted effort. So, there you go. Charlie, you sound ridiculous putting politicians and accountability in the same sentence. Ha, ha, ha. Charlie, I identify as Somali intolerant. Phobia means fear. They don't scare me. They just pee me off. So I understand. But those are the words they're going to use. Those are the words they're going to use. Fraudulent. Man, I wonder what Somalia would be like, the actual country of Somalia, what they would be like if there weren't all of the fraud going on in Somalia. So when you import these people who grow up, and there's 601, fraud happens more in Texas. Shut up. Yeah, but not by Somalians. Not by Somalians. But if you, anyway, these people grow up in a culture, and that's what it's really all about. It's about culture. They grow up in a culture of grift. They grow up in a culture of fraud. They grow up in and then when they come here, do you think they're just going to abandon their culture and leave that behind? No, they don't even abandon the clothes they wear. They bring all of that here with them. So it's going to get ugly. Let's see. Charlie, you can't tell me a sect of people that can't manage their own blank of a country can set up that level of fraud on their own. Someone did it for them and taught them how to run it. Exactly right. Exactly right. This was not Somalians coming here and going, how can we scam the system? This was Somalians coming here and what I would imagine to be white liberals saying, hey, this is how you can scam the system. This is how you guys can do it. Well, why don't you do it? No, I'll go to jail if I do it. You're Somalian. You're not going to go to jail. So anyway, it's going to get bigger. How is it going to get bigger? Because the president and Department of Homeland Security, ICE, Border Patrol are sending 2,000 agents into the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul to check in on some of this fraud. We'll tell you about that coming up in just a minute. Oh, I went way too long on that segment. But we have to, ladies and gentlemen, say goodbye today to public broadcasting. I know. I feel the same way. They are gone. NPR, PBS, we'll miss you so much. Their boards of directors got together and said, now remember what they told us. We don't depend on public funds all of that much. Taxpayer dollars are a very small part of our budget. So that small part of their budget got taken away. And guess what? Their boards of directors have voted to shut it all down. I know. Oh, do you hear that? Do you hear that tiny little sound of the world's smallest violin playing My Heart Bleeds for You? We'll talk more about that coming up. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Norman in Clemson. Norman, how you doing?
Remember,
Okay. Appreciate it there, Norman. That was an interesting conversation you had there. Let's go to Woody in Rock Hill. How you doing, Woody?
yeah, hello.
Yeah, Woody, you there?
Yeah, remember when Trump got all those
Yeah, I do. I do remember that. That was pretty awesome. That was amazing. When Trump did that, it was so cool. It was great. It really, really was. Wow, just amazing. Well, the Department of Homeland Security are now on the ground. We just talked about Minneapolis, St. Paul, all of the Somali fraud going on there. Listen to what is going on in Minneapolis, St. Paul right now.
The ground, they say they see these daycare centers, adult daycare centers, autism centers, home health care centers all over the place. So that's why DHS has to be here, Dana, to knock on these doors and say, you've received this much money. What'd you do with it? So we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, glad you're there. Thank you, Alexis.
So let's call. So it's 2,000. Let me ask you something. In milling about as you do, and going about your your daily life, how many child care centers, adult care centers, autism centers do you see in the greater Greenville, Spartanburg area? How many do you see? JJ's like, I don't even know. Let me tell you, I will guarantee you that Minneapolis, St. Paul has the highest concentration per capita of autism centers, child care centers, and adult care centers. They might. Well, wait. I mean, if you even go back and look at what Tim Walz said, he said they're going to make it easier to open these centers. Going to make it a lot easier. Well, now we know how and why. Now we know how and why. It's fraud. It is absolute fraud. And he's known about it. So that's why he's not running for governor again. So let's go back. You don't believe me? That's fine. Let's go back and listen to Tim Walz in the vice presidential debate.
We in Minnesota passed a paid family and medical leave. You have a child, and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start. The family works better. We stay in their employers. We get more consistency in that. So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota, and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that.
So how do they get into that business? Fraud. How do they get paid for that? Fraud. Let's go to Lucas in Piedmont. Lucas, welcome.
Hey, Charlie. You know, the two trolls that you just had that were trying to chime in with these, but remember Trump is kind of the whole whataboutisms about what about our emails kind of thing. I've noticed that they seem to be on a really big, troll streak. And of course it shows the humanity that, rather inhumanity, I guess, they have really about world affairs. I was going to call, and I'm trying not to steal any thunder from you, but one of the headlines today was about the California representative District 1 who had passed away.
Yeah.
And of course, the mainstream liberal media is, trying to pass it off as, an unfortunate thing. I mean, which it is, but their headlines and everybody, especially the Associated Press, had to point out in the second sentence or even in the headlines that the Republican majority in Congress narrows.
Yeah.
Is that really the main focus here when we're trying to, memorialize somebody or pay
Right,
some
right,
kind of
yeah.
respect.
The guy passed away suddenly, and do you know what this means for the Republicans? Right? I mean,
Exactly.
that was a heck of a
And
eulogy.
the comment sections, because I usually look at the MSN feed from Microsoft,
Yeah.
and it's sad to see just how people are, because you get comments that oh well, I hope he's warming up his seat for the next guy, or there's
Yeah.
going to be that great big beautiful obituary someday. It's like, are y'all just so disenfranchised or obsessed with Trump that he's living so rent free in your head?
Yeah, absolutely.
That, no amount of tax cuts are actually going to get him out of your head.
Yeah. No amount of tax cuts, no amount of growth in the GDP, no low gas prices are going to get that because it's him. It's just him.
It's absolutely sad that their life revolves around one man, and they're so pathetic that they have to call in and troll you back to back because when other world affairs take precedence right now, it's but Trump. It's get over it, everybody. You lost. The midterms are coming up. Try to do a little bit better. Make a platform that's not, well, we're not Trump or we hate Trump. Do something that's actually substantive that will get people to actually align with the majority who will vote for them, because I hate to break it to you, especially if you guys are listening, Norman or Woody, wherever you guys are.
Yeah.
The majority elected President Trump into office this time.
Yeah,
You
312.
can't say democracy.
312 electoral votes, also won the popular vote. I appreciate it, Lucas. Thank you very much. But on the other hand, it is concerning because now we've lost three Republicans in the House of Representatives. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she quit Congress. She's now down She is so upset with Donald Trump. She's now paddleboarding in Costa Rica. Then we lost a congressman in the 1st District in California. And another House member, well, he and his wife were involved in a severe accident the other day. He's going to be out of, hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he'll fully recover. But he's going to be in the hospital for a while. So the Republicans, that lead is narrowing more and more quickly. Now, who's going to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene or the congressman from California? Not really sure about that, but the Republicans got to get it together. Coming up in a little bit, I'm going to tell you about a bill that they passed in Congress that, again, they can do all they want to in Congress, but what is the Senate going to do? That's the real sticking point here because of John Thune. But like Lucas said, I mean, the American people, by and large, are with Donald Trump. And I'll prove that to you coming up in just a second, because there was a new poll out by, I think it was CNN, and they were talking about Trump and his apprehending Maduro down in Venezuela. They were hoping for a lot different results in this poll. Also, Trump derangement syndrome is so bad in Chicago right now that people are protesting in front of Trump Tower in Chicago, and you won't believe why they're doing it. And we will, ladies and gentlemen, officially say goodbye to NPR coming up in just a matter of minutes. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So I got some clown over on the text line, of course, because that's where the Big Ten is with the clowns in it. A lot of times, 005 says, so let's see, where is it? So you're so weak that opponents are called trolls. Echo chambers are boring. And I said, no, liars and scammers aren't tolerated. Then they reply, anyone with an opposite view is a liar? No. But here's why we don't tolerate the trolls on this program. Number one, they don't call in for a debate. They just don't. Number one, they use fake names. They lie to JJ about the topic that they want to call in about. And they use spoofed phone numbers. Now, I don't know if they realize this, but I'll let them know. Using a spoofed phone number in 99% of the cases is illegal. Oh, what? Are you telling me they're breaking the law? That's right. It's called the Truth in Caller ID Act, and it can get you to $10,000 fine per violation. $10,000. Now, you see, that's why we are keeping track of every single phone number that they call from, because we know that that is not their phone number. So if they want to call in and debate and say, hey, Charlie, this is Clark from Indiana. Let's talk about, fine, let's go. Let's have at it. I love a good spirited debate. But if you're going to call in and just lie from the get-go, man, like JJ just said, you deserve what you get. And yeah, we are keeping track of all of this. And yes, we will be sending this to the Attorney General's office. Okay? So that's why it's not about debate. It's about honest debate. That's what it's all about. I don't care. Call in. I don't care. Let's talk. I understand. But if you're going to do all of that, if you're going to go through that much trouble, and they're not doing it because they listen to the program and they go, man, I really disagree with what Charlie's saying. I'm going to call it. No, they're not doing that because they don't listen. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to Frady. They don't listen to anybody that they call into. They're just calling shows around the country, trying to get their little, and then they take the video and they put it over on their website or over on their YouTube page, which, by the way, that's illegal too. So that's why. It's not about shying away from debate. Anybody that knows me know that I won't do that. But it's about the whole honesty thing. Because if you're not honest in who you are and what you want to talk about, you're certainly not going to be honest in any of the facts that you give in the debate. So let's now go to CNN. Listen to this. I mean, my goodness. CNN was forced to report something that they did not want to report. And this has to do with Maduro and Trump's action down in Venezuela. Listen to this. I mean, this is pretty amazing. You know, it had to break their hearts when they had to report this.
Okay, U.S. military ousting Maduro. Pre-ousting, what you saw was the clear plurality of Americans opposed at 47%, just 21% support. Come over to this side of the screen. After the ousting, look at that. The support through the roof. Now we're talking about 37%. Well within the margin of error right here of the opposition, 38%. It turns out Americans like what they deem to be successful foreign policy operations. And in this case, they view the ousting of Maduro, at least up to this point, as a successful one, and therefore the support way up.
Yeah, before underwater, now basically even. What about the idea of putting Maduro on trial here in the United States?
Yeah, part of the reason why I think that the success number is way up, and you saw it here, what was it? It was 26 points in favor of opposition, and now within the margin of error, is because they simply don't like Nicolas Maduro. And in fact, they believe that he should be on trial for drug trafficking. Look at this, 50% of Americans favor compared to just 14% who oppose. So there are very few Americans here who oppose it. Even among Democrats, the opposition number is below, get this, just 24%. It is below 25%. So this is something that unites Republicans. It divides Democrats. And at this particular point, support for the operation way up. And in terms of those who favor the drug trafficking trial for Maduro, that is a clear plurality.
Absolutely it is. So the vast majority of Americans love what Trump is doing. Let's go to Benji and Lawrence. Benji, welcome.
I'm calling to debate with you, Charlie.
All right, let's have it.
All right. Mike Bobo's got to go.
There's no debate there. I don't have you're not going to get you won. You just won that debate. Bobo got to go. I've been saying that for a while. But I mean, we've got to get for some reason his name is escaping me right now. The defensive coordinator. What was this guy been thinking all year?
Yeah, seriously.
And we talked about
the Ravens. The Ravens are supposedly going to be cutting Todd Monken loose. So I know Kirby loves Bobo, but
yeah,
I mean, let him be like a real offensive coordinator's assistant or something, and please God, bring Monken back.
I like that. I like that idea. I appreciate it. Of course, I appreciate it, Benji. Thank you very much. Talking about my Georgia Bulldogs, as they have lost. They lost to Ole Miss. Ole Miss, the only SEC team in the national championship picture right now. So that's how my 2026 is going. But there you go. All right, WRD talk line 800-9050-989. We'll go to John in Waynesville. John, what's going on with you this afternoon?
Hey, Charlie. I was driving down the road and they've got a No Kings, look like a senior protest, mostly seniors, and I just couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking, my goodness, haven't they learned anything yet?
Yeah.
In this stage of their life. So I drove by, but I couldn't hold myself back, Charlie. I stuck my head out the window, and I shouted that your king just left office.
Yeah. Your king got deported. Your king got indicted.
You think about it, Obama and Biden have been more of a dictator to this country.
Yeah.
Forcing immorality on us, defying our Constitution, betraying our own people to foreign invasion. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it, John. Thank you very much. But isn't it weird that they were just a couple of weeks ago, back in October, November, having these No Kings rallies? Then you've got an actual dictator down in Venezuela, narco-terrorist. Trump goes in and gets him, and all of a sudden they're upset. Listen, it's not about the what. It's not about the what. It's about the who. If Biden had done this, the left would have been talking about what a momentous, did you see what Biden did? Boy, he went in there and got Maduro, and Biden is just awesome, and we love him. But because it was Trump, now it's all of a sudden a bad thing? Yeah. Well, speaking of Trump derangement syndrome, you won't believe what they're protesting in Chicago. We'll tell you about it. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
You're locked into the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Like the trollers out there, I mean, the Trump derangement syndrome has got people so twisted up that they don't even realize how ridiculous they sound. They truly don't. And when you look at people like NPR, and we'll talk about them coming up in just a minute, but NPR is no more because they could not get out of their bubble. And they were in an actual sound chamber, echo chamber, where everybody that they know, everybody that they talk to, everybody that they interact with, all has the same ideology. When I lectured at Harvard, I asked the class, I said, how many of you lost friends after Trump got elected? None of them, not a single hand in the class went up. And I said, I lost about 10. And they were shocked. What? Why would what? And because everybody they interact with, they all feel the same way, they all talk the same way, they all think the same way, they've got the same politics, they've got the same ideology. And they just can't understand when people feel a different way than they do. It doesn't register with them. It doesn't even register with a lot of these people, especially when you get up there and you look into like the Northeast and, some of the socialist enclaves of this country. They can't even imagine interacting with somebody like you and me. They have a totally warped perspective of what we are, but it really twists their brains up. So there was a protest in Chicago. Some of the faith leaders, I'm using air quotes there, faith leaders in Chicago, they were protesting in front of Trump Tower. Let's take a listen to this.
Faith leaders gathered with community members outside of Trump Tower this morning to protest property tax hikes. They're calling those hikes a modern-day land grab that's devastating the west and south side. They met at Trump Tower because they say that building's property taxes were reduced, while people living in West Garfield Park in North Lawndale saw their taxes go up as high as 133%. They are condemning the Cook County Assessor and the Board of Review for what they call targeted property tax hikes on poor and working class families. Faith leaders say this is a moral crisis, not just a financial problem, and they will not back down.
Because for those of us in places like West Garfield Park, with a 133% increase, Lawndale with a 99% increase, Inglewood with an 80% increase, and a 39% reduction for Donald Trump. And so clearly, Donald Trump gets the tax break, and on the west side, we get the tax bill.
Okay, so it's got nothing to do with Donald Trump, good sir. For that, you would need to look at the Cook County Registrar's Office. You would need to look at the Cook County Tax Assessor's Office. And in fact, you would look at the entire County Council of Cook County and Chicago itself. They were the ones that were doing that, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't have anything to do with that. Do you really think the people of Cook County wanted to give Donald Trump a tax break? No, of course not. That city, that county is practically 100% Democrat. But they will blame anybody but the people that are actually responsible. Now, let me tell you, and you might not realize this, but I'm going to give you, I'm talking to the people in Cook County. You might not realize what's going on. But it's a little thing called gentrification. Now, what gentrification does is, and it's primarily done by the liberals, and I've seen it down in Charleston. We've seen it in a lot of places. You will have historically black neighborhoods, right? And they pay very low taxes. And that property value keeps going up and up and up, and all the value around those communities, around those neighborhoods, those property, and they would say, man, we need to be getting more money from these folks. So what we'll do, and this happens a lot, They will go in and they will raise your taxes, just like they did in, what was it, a 100% property tax increase in one of the little communities there. Because what they're trying to do, now remember, these are Democrats doing this. They're trying to get the black families out of that community. They're trying to get the black families out of the community. And once these people can't afford the taxes anymore, and they put those properties up for sale, guess what? Their developer friends are going to come in. They're going to buy up all of that property, and then they're going to fix the homes up, make them look cute and quaint, and they're going to sell them at extremely high prices. This is another county council, another city council bowing down to developers. This happens all over the place. That's what is happening to get these communities, well, to a level where they're just getting more and more taxes. But can't be, hey, that can't be the reason, right? It's got to be Trump. It's got to be Donald Trump. He's got to be the problem for everything. I mean, after all, we saw what he did in Venezuela. I want you to listen to this woman. I found this to be a very interesting video. She's a woman. She's married to a Venezuelan. And listen to what she said.
I'm an American married to a Venezuelan, and I woke up this morning to a bunch of texts from my friends from the U.S. that were like, I'm so sorry, we're praying for your husband and his family. And how do I tell them that my husband woke me up this morning with a glass of champagne?
So all of her little liberal friends are like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, Donald Trump is so mean. Oh. And how'd her husband wake her up? Hey, honey, champagne. Maduro's in jail. That's awesome. So I'm telling you, they're nutty as a fruitcake. They really they don't get it. They don't understand it. Coming up in just a few minutes, imagine being a Venezuelan and celebrating the end of oppression in your country, and then having white liberal women tell you that you're wrong. Could you imagine how that must feel? Yeah. Also, the House GOP, like we said, is getting smaller. And do you know how many words President Trump has spoken in his second term? Officially spoken? It's an astounding amount. It puts Joe Biden to shame. We'll tell you about that coming up in just a little bit. But when we get back, ladies and gentlemen, we have to say goodbye to NPR. Let's go to Ralph in Gaffney real quick. Ralph, welcome.
Hey, Charlie, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned gentrification. We have local examples right there in Nickeltown.
Sure.
Nickeltown, 99.9% black.
Right.
Well, now there are houses going on. It's going into the next community, and it's happening in Greer.
Yeah.
And everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
How you get that down is you get a black person to be a token in the county council, so if anybody says anything against him, he can call them racist.
Yeah. And meanwhile, they're all working for those developers, man. I appreciate it, Ralph. Thank you. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
A native Georgia bulldog who bites back at big government. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
America is back.
Yes, sir. And we are back. Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you along with us on this Tuesday afternoon. Well, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has decided that they are shutting down the works. Now, NPR and PBS itself isn't shutting down just yet, but they were funded by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. And back in the middle of last year, Republican-controlled Congress passed a rescission package that clawed back $1.1 billion from public broadcasting. And this was part of a lot of spending cuts that happened. Back in August, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced it would wind down operations, with most staff to be laid off by September of last year, and a small team handling all the financial closeouts into earlier this year. So yesterday, the board of directors at the Corporation for Public Broadcasting formally voted to dissolve the organization entirely after nearly 60 years, rather than leave it as a defunded shell vulnerable to further political interference, they say. But without the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the chance that PBS and NPR survive are slim. In fact, those chances are non-existent. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to say goodbye today to public broadcasting. Friends, patriots, and taxpayers, we are gathered here today to say goodbye. They were taken from us far too late and at far too high a cost. For decades, PBS and NPR told us they were listener-supported, which was adorable, kind of in the same way a 40-year-old living in his parents' basement is self-sufficient. They were the only networks where every show sounded like a hostage negotiation, and every host whispered like they were afraid of waking Karl Marx from a nap. Public broadcasting gave us Sesame Street before it went from teaching the alphabet to teaching pronouns. It gave us Antiques Roadshow, where experts appraised heirlooms with the same enthusiasm they appraised socialism. And of course, Masterpiece Theater. Because nothing says working class America like a 9-hour British drama where a butler discovers his feelings. They claim to be unbiased, which in public broadcasting terms means we hate Republicans, but we say it in a soothing voice. And oh, those pledge drives, those endless guilt-soaked fundraisers that if you don't donate, this programming will disappear, and America kept saying, promise? They would say for the cost of a cup of coffee. Yeah, from Starbucks in San Francisco with oat milk and emotional trauma foam. Public broadcasting never met a government program it didn't love, a regulation it didn't hug, or a conservative it didn't profile. They called themselves the voice of the people, which is interesting because people don't sound like that. They were the only place where capitalism was always problematic, socialism was always misunderstood, and America was always in need of fundamental transformation. In other words, public broadcasting wasn't public, it was publicly funded activism. And now, as we lower this tote bag into the ground, let us remember public broadcasting the way it should be remembered. Overproduced, overfunded, and overrated. No longer will we be lectured by a guy named Kai about why truck drivers are the real problems. No more will we be scolded by a woman with a nose ring about how energy independence is a myth. No more will we be told that flyover country just doesn't understand the nuance. Public broadcasting is survived by gender studies departments, European documentaries, and at least 3 interns named River. In lieu of flowers, the family asks you to send your tax dollars. Oh, wait a minute, too late for that. So rest in peace, public broadcasting. You lived on government support for far too long. You died on political life support, and you will be remembered briefly on a podcast that nobody listens to. And as the great American philosopher once said, don't let the door hit you where the tote bag split you. Amen, and God bless the American taxpayer. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today we are all better because of the demise of public broadcasting. But I would like to say, if you guys are looking at selling some of those Neumann U87 microphones at a good price, please get in touch with me. You can send me an email at charlie@989word.com. I would love to buy one of those. Public broadcasting, how did they think they were going? How did they think they were going to survive? How did they possibly think? Coming up in just a few minutes, New York, you are on official notice by the Justice Department, and there's a woman in Mondani's cabinet in New York named Sia Weaver. You will not believe this woman. She is more horrible than you could ever imagine, and it seems like there was a very white protest in Charlotte yesterday. We'll have that coming up for you. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Tough on issues, sharp with facts. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Tap and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
So over on the text line, 962 says, Charlie, I turned over to NPR hoping to catch a little bit of the actual funeral. Did you know what they were talking about? January the 6th. Good riddance. They can take those tote bags and shove them. Several people wanted me to sound the bell for NPR, so here we go. Goodbye, NPR. Sorry. But again, if you want to get rid of some of those microphones, just let me know. All right. Well, Mondani is now the mayor of New York City. And folks, let me tell you something. That is something you're going to need to watch very carefully, because this is a guy in his speech at his inauguration said this.
Draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
Okay, now listen to the crowd.
If our campaign...
they don't even know what collectivism is. Collectivism is literally communism, where the individual or the group has more rights than the individual. Well, that's kind of the antithesis of this country, isn't it? I mean, individual rights are what this country was founded on. And he wants to make sure that he brings communism. You know, the guy that swore his oath on the Koran wants to bring communism to New York City. And if you don't believe me, I want you to listen to what his head of, and I know I played this for you yesterday, but it does bear repeating. This woman named Sia Weaver, she is one of Mondani's housing officials. Listen to what she said.
I think the reality is that for centuries we've really treated property as an individualized good and not a collective good, and we are going to transitioning to treating it as a collective good and towards a model of shared equity will require that we think about it differently, and it will mean that families, especially white families, but some POC families who are homeowners as well, are going to have a different relationship to property than the one that we currently have.
Oh, a different relationship to property. Now, what is she talking about? Well, Mondani has actually said that he wants to tax white neighborhoods at a higher rate than neighborhoods of color. Now, whatever. But he wants to impose higher taxes on richer and whiter neighborhoods in New York City. And that's not the worst of it. Another member of his cabinet, this woman named DaCosta, what was her? I can't remember her name. DaCosta. Listen to what she said. She wrote this in November 10th of 2016, just soon after Donald Trump was elected president. She said, now this is a member of Mondani's cabinet. It's important that white people feel defeated. That is a member of Let me tell you something. Mondani, you are not, I would be shocked if in his cabinet Mondani has a single heterosexual white male. I will be shocked to see that. If he is, he's the token. But that member of his cabinet said it is important that white people feel defeated. Sia Weaver, the woman that I just played the clip from, said, listen to this, impoverish the white middle class. Home ownership is a racist, failed public policy. So she wants the white middle class in New York City to be impoverished. Wow, how are they going to do that? Taxes. That's going to be taxes. Well, Harmeet Dillon is keeping an eye on these people. I want you to listen to what she said.
Just because you're white doesn't mean you have fewer rights in this country. We all have equal rights in our country, and we will not stand for New York City violating any federal law whatsoever. They should be on notice. They are on high scrutiny, and we will swoop right in and do what's necessary to protect all citizens and taxpayers and residents of New York where they're legally.
Yeah, good. Good. Because that's exactly what they want to do. Could you imagine? I mean, just let's go shoe on the other foot here for just a second. Could you imagine anybody, any Republican saying that we need to impoverish the black middle class? No, of course not. Could you imagine anybody saying we need to raise taxes on the black communities? Oh, wait a minute. They do that, don't they? We just found out about that in Chicago. Well, that's only so that they can turn that property over to their developer friends, and these are Democrats doing it again. I don't know how many terms Mamdani is going to serve. Hopefully it's going to be one. Hopefully it'll be a half, and he'll be caught up in some scandal and have to resign, or the people do some recall. I don't know if they can do recall elections in New York City, but the people there are going to get sick and tired of this, especially the corporations. Especially the corporations. You've got a rabid socialist / communist / Marxist as the mayor of the biggest financial hub in the world. So now let's take a look at what we got. We've got Zohran Mamdani, mayor of New York, #1 financial capital of the world. Then we've got Sadiq Khan as the mayor of London, practically a clone of Mamdani, in charge of the second largest financial capital of the world. That's amazing. What people to think, I don't get it. Maybe I don't know if they, and I swear it only took, 24 years to forget 9/11. Remember September the 12th of 9/11? When you couldn't, stores were selling out of American flags. Patriotism was at an all-time high. And now in just 24 years, the people of New York surrendered all of that? Do you think anybody during World War II would have said, hey, I want to volunteer to go into the Army if they knew this was going to eventually happen? We just, we've lost because of apathy. We have lost because of apathy and because of low and no information voters. What the future of New York holds, hopefully, is not going to be as bad as it appears it's going to be. But I'm not holding out a lot of hope for that. But I'm thinking we're going to see more of this before we start seeing less of it. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, we got a primary coming up on June 9th, and folks, that is going to be here before you know it. And I'm going to tell you again, put that down in your calendar. Set yourself a reminder to vote in every single election this year. Now, the primary elections are really, in a lot of cases, the most important election. Because we know whoever wins the primary, they will be the de facto winner in that race. So get out there and vote. Let's make sure we got the right choices going on. So again, you got June 9th, that primary coming up. Every vote, every time should be your goal this year and from here on out. Or if you really look at it, so let's just take a look at Venezuela. Do you know how long it took for Venezuela to get from where they were to where they are now? 1 generation. 1 generation. That's it. Venezuela used to be the number 1 purchaser of, the number 2 purchaser of Ford F-150s in the world. And in less than 30 years, they went from that to eating their pets. Because why? Because they were sold a bill of goods. This one person over on the text line said, you lost. I didn't lose. You lost because the younger generation feels hopeless and has nothing to lose. Nobody can afford anything, and neither party cares. Mamdani is new, and that's enough. Oh, is it? Is that enough? Well, guess what? Chavez was new. Maduro was new. Che Guevara was new. Castro was new. All of those people were new. And where are these countries now? They are in dire straits. So new does not necessarily mean better. And I think to blame the generation before that is really a huge cop-out. In fact, if I'm going to put the blame on the baby boomer generation for anything, it is that we spoiled our kids too much. We spoiled them too much. And then they decided to go off and go to college and get useless degrees. Oh, I'm in gender studies. I'm in ancient Aztec gender studies, and that's my major. Well, guess what? Good luck with your job at Starbucks. They produced no value for themselves. No value. Those so-called educations, college educations, are they're literally not worth the paper they're printed on. In fact, they're worth a lot less. You might be able to sell that piece of paper somewhere. So yeah, that's the only issue that I have with the baby boomers. We spoiled our kids too much. We tried to make life easy for them. And what's the saying? Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. That's where we are right now, with a bunch of weak men making hard times. We've got to get out of that. The strong men have to come back. That's the turning we need to be at. So that's where you are. So could you imagine being a Venezuelan, right? Maybe you're in Venezuela. Maybe you've come here from Venezuela. Like I know a guy down in the Low Country, a friend of mine, his family came here from Venezuela. Could you imagine hearing that Maduro was apprehended by the Trump administration and then tuning into social media and hearing crazy people like this?
Trump said the United States will be running Venezuela. Whoa, a colony. Whoa, imperialism. so a multinational corporation can get profit.
Oh my gosh.
Why they do that?
I don't know why they do that. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Why they do that?
I don't know. I don't know. They're crazy. They're crazy. And of course, that woman had pink hair, right? Of course. Let's go to Sean in Hickory Tavern and talk to him. Sean, welcome.
Charlie, as I've said before many times, your voice characterizations are absolutely spot on.
Oh, thank you.
The commentary, yes, sir. You're welcome. You have made me a true believer in you, buddy. We love you out here. Okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
The PBS and NPR thing, the only critique that I could give you that would be worth anything, make it the strongest Governor McMaster Southern drawl that you can.
That might have been better. I might have to read that again, like Governor McMaster. No more will we be lectured by a guy named. That would be a good one.
That would have been. That would have.
I appreciate it.
And, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Speaking of governors, ladies and gentlemen, it won't be long. The Governor McMaster will no longer be the governor of South Carolina. We will have a brand new governor, but who will it be? Well, the 4th District Republican Club and the Upstate Republican Women are having a 2026 South Carolina Governors Forum that is coming up on Monday, January the 26th at noon at the Poinsett Club. You can email Upstate Republican Women at gmail.com for ticket information about that. They are requiring tickets for this. They got Pamela Evett, Josh Kimbrell, Nancy Mace, Ralph Norman, and Alan Wilson. This is going to be a Governors Forum coming up at the Poinsett Club, January the 26th at noon. It's also going to be a luncheon involved in that as well. So make sure that we make the right choice for governor. It just seems to me that all these people have gotten a little quiet. It might have been the holidays, might have been the end of the year, they might have been gearing up for 2026, but they all got a little bit of quiet. But we did get some news from Congressman Ralph Norman. He has added $1 million to his coffers, to his campaign funds. So we'll see. This is going to be a very expensive race. And I predict in the next couple of weeks, things are really, really going to start ramping up. Haven't heard a whole lot from Nancy Mace lately. Haven't heard a tremendous amount from, Alan Wilson or Pamela Evett, and, of course, Josh Kimbrell. But we will see. That's going to be a big race because this is going to be, a lot of people say it's only 4 years. This is going to be an 8-year term because we know here in South Carolina that we love our incumbents, especially in the governor's mansion. So this is going to be the person that is in charge of our government for 8 years. And we got to make sure we got somebody in there that is going to be, good common sense, somebody that's going to fight the rhinos in Columbia, somebody that's actually going to do something about our infrastructure, somebody that's going to make sure that this state and our character remains intact and we don't sell it out to the highest bidder. And we don't do ridiculous deals like they did with Scout Motors, which, by the way, I still predict that not a single Scout vehicle is going to roll off that assembly line in Blythewood. And the reason that I say that is because Ford EV sales have absolutely plummeted. They have gone through the floor. They are now way in the basement. In fact, 86% of all vehicles that are sold by Ford are conventional engine vehicles. People just don't want those electric vehicles anymore. They just don't. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hitting truth bombs longer than he drives off the tee. It's the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Interact on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the WORD talk line. We'll talk to Ken in Nebo. How you doing, Ken?
Hey, long time no see. I hope you're okay today, Charlie.
Doing great, buddy. What's up, man?
The 86, 65, and 70 degree weather down here, down south. Man alive.
Enjoying that, are you?
We're it.
There you go.
Keep it coming. I don't catch no school buses. Keep it coming.
There you go.
I wanted to touch base on a real good topic for us. There is the PBS and the public radio money that was voted out by the House there a few months back.
Right.
And I just wanted to tell you about one of the most wonderful documentaries I ever saw in my life. I'll never forget it. It was called Thank You, Eddie Hart. And it's about in April 12th, 1945, the very last days of World War II, American regiment, the 329th of the 83rd Infantry, was entering a town called Barbie, Germany. They were ambushed right at the end of the war. And a soldier named Eddie Hart, the survivor lit a cigarette, got shot, hit the ground. He and 18,000 other American heroes were buried in the Netherlands, when they were burying them in those American cemeteries overseas during World War II. And Dutch citizens adopted every single grave.
Oh, wow.
And one of the incredible stuff. One of the ladies, Betty Ronken, a Dutch girl, wrote a letter to Eddie Hart's sister that said, I hope, dear Miss Hart, that this will be a little better for you to know that your brother's grave is not lonely. He was from LaGrange, North Carolina, which is between Goldsboro and Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a little connection there for me. But the fact of the matter is, that hour-long documentary, it was somber. It was nothing politically or impolitically about it. It was just truly honoring something that I would have never known about.
Yeah.
Is those graves over there being adopted. Well, and that was great. Okay. And now I want to give you an example of how I feel like there's been a little bit of unfairness on the good program. And the other night I watched the fjords of the Scandinavian countries and two fish eagles trying to keep the same fish that only one of them caught. But anyway, the rocket that's going to be launching February 26th, next month, the Artemis 2 rocket to go around the moon once, will cost $4.2 billion. Now, the total cost of PBS and the radio, and I know their newscast and everything has to use a mental prism to screen out use your opinion on what you think they may be saying, but the majority of them are documentaries. The cost of PBS, radio, and TV is $1 billion. That rocket launch is being put on.
Okay, then Ken, why can't they survive without it?
Why can't the people? Well, I'm just saying the story I just told you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that they have the funds maybe to be national like
Why not?
that. And if we're going to be.
But let me explain this to you. Every day, Ken, when I come to work and I get my paycheck, some of my paycheck is taken out and given to a direct competitor over on NPR. Is that right?
Well, what I was hoping to do is to compare the folks at NASA who get money to try to go to moon and to Mars to figure out where life began.
Right.
And if you're going to put priorities on things that are good for America to watch, that program that I just told you about, which is the majority of the documentaries on PBS, that's well worth it. I mean, we're going to spend $85 million.
I don't think it's worth it. I don't think the American taxpayer should be funding a broadcasting corporation whose news is completely liberal.
Okay, last example.
Okay.
And I'll turn you loose. Thank you. Last example. We're spending $85 million to take a mothballed space shuttle out of the Smithsonian, and since they can't fly them anymore, piggyback, $85 million went to Houston, Texas, to take that space shuttle to Houston, Texas, and then they're going to be adding some more millions to build a museum for it. I will never get to see that space shuttle in that museum.
Okay.
And also,
I'm not understanding exactly, Ken. If you want them to survive, maybe you should have.
With our tax
I
dollars.
I don't consider NPR a priority.
I don't consider the space shuttle being mothballed when Houston already has one being priority.
Maybe we just have different priorities, though. I don't get it. But the space shuttle isn't getting out there every day telling you that the Republicans are bad. The space shuttle and NASA is not telling you that birds are racist. The NASA is not telling you that roads are racist. They're not telling you that country music is racist. NASA, and not to mention, like JJ said, the climate change crap. They're not out there espousing an ideology. I don't want to have to pay for that. Now, do I want to have to pay for a lot of the things that the government does? No, I don't. But least of all, do I want to pay for those people? And it's only 1.1. Well, then I got an idea. Why don't all of these little limousine liberals get together and raise $1.1 billion and keep NPR afloat? Then they would have never had the problem, would they? All right, WRD Talk Line, 800-9050-989. That's also the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. I want to tell you what Mondani, so we got new breaking news now about what Mondani is doing in New York. Without a doubt, the number one target for terrorism is New York City. Number one. Mondani has ended the daily New York Police Department intel briefing on terrorism. And he has demoted the police commissioner. Let's go to Kyle in Greenwood. Kyle, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Charlie?
I'm great. What's up, man?
Happy New Year to you.
Yes, sir. You too.
I don't understand what the previous caller was talking about. I mean, I'm in a business. I would not want the government handing over money hand and fist to a corporation that was directly in competition with me.
Right.
It's not fair. It's not a level playing field, and it should be stopped. It is stopped, and it should be stopped.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I mean, that it's outlived its usefulness.
Yeah.
Maybe 50 years ago, when there was a lot of rural area and there was a lot of places that didn't get radio or TV any other way than through NPR, well, that's fine. But those days are gone. We don't need government subsidized anything, but especially NPR.
You're right. I appreciate it, Kyle. I got to hit a break here. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Honest views, trusted news. This is the Charlie James Show.
On News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program on your Tuesday afternoon. Let's go to the phones and we'll talk to Everett in Spartanburg. Everett, how you doing?
Fine, so how you doing?
I'm fantastic. What's up, bud?
That gentleman that was talking about NPR.
Yeah.
He didn't like NASA doing this, didn't like other people doing that. Well, why are you just wearing kid gloves with him? They're communists. I mean, they're going to have to start calling these people communists so everybody understand what they are.
Well, I read that in my eulogy for NPR. They are. I mean, they are anti-American. They're
98% Democrat, 98%
yes.
Democrat, and they're biased on all the news programs. So why should we have to pay for it?
So all of those people that depend on NPR, they're only getting one side of the story every single time. I appreciate it, Everett. Let's go to Lucas in Piedmont. Lucas, you're on the air.
Hey, Charlie, I just wanted to call back in. I'm not going to come out swinging on the caller you had before the break regarding NPR. I know I put my thoughts up there, but I wanted to kind of clarify a few things. NPR is, not really going to suffer any issues here because there's multiple news media sources out there that get funded through taxes and, donations, things like that. NASA is the only program we have where we can actually peacefully explore space, and we've been doing it, thankfully, even with our supposed enemies, and, they've been ignoring all the issues on the ground because it's in the pursuit of science and peaceful exploration.
Yeah, that was... Go ahead.
Okay, no, I was going to say, as far as the One Big Beautiful Bill, this is one I've been following a little bit because I'm a space nerd at heart, and as far as the movement of the space shuttle, I've seen that, the senators from Texas have wanted to do it. However, there is no provision in the bill that specifically states that Space Shuttle Discovery or any of the other orbiters are actually going to be moved because the shuttle carrier aircraft, which I actually had the chance to see when I was stationed at Edwards Air Force Base, they can't be moved. So there really is no logistical way to actually move them. The bill says that they have acquired money to give Houston, where obviously our ground controls are stationed, it gives them the ability to take on a spacecraft specifically flown on a manned mission. So Jarek Isaacman, who is the new NASA administrator, has actually come out and said that more than likely the next spacecraft that goes up for Artemis 2 around the moon next month is going to be the vehicle they get. So just trying to clear up that confusion.
Okay.
Don't want to come out swinging on the guy
That's
because
all right.
of his NPR.
All right, Lucas, I appreciate it. I want to go to Gene in Greenville. Gene, what do you think about what Mondani is doing in New York?
I call him Bonzani, but anyway, I just want to bring up a point. I listen to a lot of preachers and pastors from the past, and a number of these people were very prophetic, and a lot of their prophecies have come true. One in particular is a man named David Wilkerson. You may want to look him up, Times Square Church. Very powerful preacher, if you ever had a chance to listen to his teachings and preachings. And he prophesied that New York City would become embroiled in total chaos and riots. It would be a city described as of 1,000 fires, with mobs of young, unruly people set out on a violent course to destroy and kill whatever they could grab their hands on. And that the response would be one where the New York metropolitan area would be shut down by military force.
Wow. And I actually see. Yeah, you can actually see that coming.
Right.
You can see that coming.
I don't think that our president is not familiar with David Wilkerson. Wilkerson's church was in Manhattan, Times Square Church by Times Square.
Yeah.
And it was a church that was well attended by people. You know what? This is how it was so well attended. You can count the number of white faces like mine or yours on one hand. These people were from all parts of the world that went to that church.
Right. Well, there you go.
Get my point?
I get your point, Gene. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Let's go to Chris in Canton. Chris, what's your thoughts on NASA?
I don't think they should be getting taxpayer-funded money either. I think I'm one of those, I guess, tinfoil hat wearers that don't believe they made it to the moon.
Okay.
So I think they've deceived the world, really. I think NASA stands for deceiver in Hebrew.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you very much. Interesting. NASA used to be something until Obama decided that they're going to use all of their resources for climate change. Oh, no longer. Oh, we're not going to explore space anymore. We're going to explore our own climate. And that's what they did. Just turned into another Obama political organization. All right, so there's been a lot of talk, and I get these things over on the text line every now and then. The difference between America First and MAGA, all right? Now, there may be some differences, but there is no doubt that President Donald Trump is America First. Well, one of the things that a lot of these people don't understand is that America First does not mean America only. And there are certain things that are happening in our hemisphere that we need to make sure we take care of in order to make sure that this country is protected. And if that means going into Venezuela and capturing a narco-terrorist and bringing him back to the United States for trial, then so be it. But there's a lot of talk these days about how, MAGA is divided. And, well, not really.
About what the president's done in Venezuela?
Let me be very clear. There is no rift in the Republican Party. Yes, there are some folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie who are quite skeptical of this. They are very much in the minority. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just talk the GOP on the U.S. military, ousting Maduro? Ipsos, 65% support, 6% opposed. How about the Washington Post poll? 74% support, just 10% opposed. If you look among 2024 Trump supporters, we're talking about 80% support. The vast, vast majority of Republicans are with Donald Trump on this issue. Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene are very much in the minority. Very few Republicans are with him.
You say they're with him on this issue. Do you even need those words, this issue?
No. I don't need the words this issue because the bottom line is this. Donald Trump has had an iron grip on that Republican base for a long period of time, and it is the same iron grip that he had 6 months ago. I know every so often people are trying to say, I spot these little rifts in the Republican base. They're finally starting to break. They're starting to break from Donald Trump. It ain't happening, at least when it comes to the approval rating. Look at this. 84% 6 months ago, 85% now. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know 85% and 84% are basically the same number. In fact, 85% is 1 point higher than 84%.
So, yeah, no rift there. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Streaming stimulating talk and breaking news on your phone 24/7 on the Odyssey app. You're on the drive with the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is January the 6th. 5 years ago today, something horrible happened in Washington, D.C., and it happened to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I didn't think that I was just going to be killed. I thought other things were going to happen to me as well.
So what sounds like what you're telling me right now is that you didn't only think that you were going to die, you thought you were going to be raped.
Yeah. I thought I was.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. She wasn't even in the building. She wasn't even in the building. And she, oh, it's all about me. Oh, it's all about, you know who you should have been concerned about is Ashley Babbitt. The young woman who was murdered in the Capitol by Capitol Hill police. That's who you should be concerned about. That's it. So this young, 110-pound woman, instead of apprehending her, she was shot. She was shot by a Capitol Hill police officer. Unbelievable. Robert Byrd shot him. I'm sorry, Michael Byrd shot Ashley Babbitt dead on January 6, 2021, in cold blood. In cold blood. With police officers standing behind her. This guy, in a one-handed shot, which I'm pretty sure Capitol Police are trained better than that, in a one-handed shot, murdered Ashley Babbitt. And this guy still has a job. In fact, he's got several jobs. Records show that Kalisha Byrd, a family member of Michael Byrd, runs a child care center from their home. Oh, that's interesting. Love to see how many kids they got there. But, of course, over at NPR and PBS, that's all they're talking about January 6th. Anything to make Trump look bad or attempt to make Donald Trump look bad. That whole January 6th commission, that was all BS. It was all lies. It was faked. They doctored the videos that they showed in front of the American people. They actually took riot sound effects and put them over the video that had no original audio. No, nothing happened to them. They were told not to destroy their evidence, and they did. Nothing happened to them. I'm glad Trump pardoned all of those people. I really am. I'm glad. The lies that they spread about January the 6th for the past 5 years have been unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, we've got all of those evidence. We got eyewitness testimony that said, hey, listen, some of those doors are held together, closed, locked magnetically. And yet they were open from the inside. Some of those barricades were removed, and some people were ushered into and followed around the Capitol. One guy went to jail just because he tried to take a young lady or show a young lady where the restroom was at the urging of a Capitol Hill police officer. We interviewed that guy on this program. But there you've got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez lying through her absolute teeth, her big old teeth, about January the 6th. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hey, Charlie, help me buy PBS. I'll drop the not truthful news and keep honest, truthful programming. I'm not joking. There you go. Charlie, people tend to hold on. We'll pass that one up. Anyway, Don't forget, Lindsey Graham approved of that shot of Ashley Babbitt. He said would have shot him in the head. Oh, what? Lindsey Graham said what? He would have shot people in the head?
It wasn't peaceful. I was there. If it had been up to me, I would have shot some of these people in the head.
Oh, okay. I got you. And he got reelected as senator from South Carolina after making a statement like that. Running for reelection right now. A sitting senator saying that he would shoot American citizens in the head, who urged Capitol Hill police to shoot more people. You've got guns, use them, it was reported that he said. That's where we are. Falling for those lies. And then you've got the BBC. You got the BBC doctoring video of Donald Trump when he said, go peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol and let your voices be heard. They doctored that up to make him sound like he was telling everybody to go fight. The lies that the media have told you about this president have just, I mean, you can even go back to Charlottesville. The Charlottesville hoax. The suckers and losers hoax. The COVID-19 hoax. You can go back to all of those hoaxes. Pretty amazing. It really, really is. Let's go to Cassandra in Greenville, and she wants to talk about Mondani. Cassandra, welcome.
Hi, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
To you and all your wonderful followers. We really appreciate the information you give to us, Charlie.
Thank you.
You know, I was calling about something that I haven't heard anyone speak about. But, boy, you brought up so many other things I need to comment on here. But I'll try to keep it down a little bit. The defund police program, which when they started this after Floyd and all that, it just seems so insane. And we've been watching that. And as we see the police departments dwindle, and now they're saying, oh, we're going to have to build them up again, I almost wonder, and we've all been talking about this amongst ourselves, could this be that this was part of the plot? And that truly they just want to be able to now have big hiring pushes for police and put in anti-American Islamist or leftist or whatever you might have.
Wouldn't doubt it.
I heard that mayor of New York say something about looking for police, and I thought, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. But I thought I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But
you know who the police officers are going to be.
Oh, gosh.
They're going to be radical leftists who want that social policing. And, this is a guy that wants social workers to show up instead of police officers. It's going to be a mess.
I keep saying I can't get over how successful Obama was when he was calling for national police and so on.
Yeah.
Really bad. But I quickly want to just comment on other NPR. I used to listen to NPR all the time. I loved it. And one day, I noticed it started to change, and I thought, what? This is weird. There's something really different. And then as it went on, it was worse and worse, and then I stopped listening. So I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. And I really loved your eulogy, and I wanted to thank you for it. I thought it was wonderful. So.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Cassandra. You
Thank
have
you,
a
Charlie.
wonderful, wonderful evening. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour on The Charlie James Show. Afternoons 3 to 7 on News Talk 98.9.
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
We got a brand new year. Lots going on in Congress. Joining us right now is Representative William Timmons. Representative Timmons, a pleasure. Happy New Year, sir.
Charlie, good evening. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's going on in Congress today? We are. What about this GOP health care bill? What's that looking like?
We're working on a number of pieces of legislation to address affordability of health care and to make sure the American people are getting the health care they deserve. And that is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
We actually had a very productive day. We had the GOP policy conference. We went to the Trump Kennedy Center, and the president came and spoke to us for it had to be 90 minutes. It was pretty incredible to hear him talk about all the issues facing our country and all the major changes he's delivering to really just improve the lives of the American people. And honestly, he made a lot of great jokes, and hearing about the taking Maduro out of his country and bringing him to justice in the U.S. was pretty incredible.
I'll bet it was. A lot of people complaining about that, especially folks on the right. And the big question they're asking is, was this legal? Did the president address that today?
Well, I mean, it's just hilarious. If you look at all the Democrats that are complaining about it, they all took the exact opposite position just a few years ago. And they actually poked fun at the president because Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the Southern District of New York. So a bunch of Democrats indicted on a grand jury indicted him. And so all that we're doing is serving an arrest warrant and taking him and his wife, who were have arrest warrants out for narco terrorism, and we're going to bring them to justice. And there's going to be a trial, and we're going to let the American people decide. And so, I mean, we're doing all the right things, and I think it's just very impressive that the president was able to lead, be the commander in chief as the military executed this flawless military operation. It was tactically perfect.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that even the folks on the left can't deny. I mean, I've been saying that this sent a message all around the world that, listen, the United States military is back and it's bigger and better than ever, right?
That's exactly right. And I mean, Iran found out that we can send a missile or two, and here we are. We literally went in and we took the head of a cartel, and we neutralized his defenses, and he was in New York ready to stand trial within 48 hours.
Yeah.
Outside of disrupting air travel for Caribbean vacationers, it was perfect.
It was absolutely perfect. You just said Iran. You folks in Congress watching what's going on in Iran right now. I mean, they're having some major uprisings. People are sick and tired of the Islamic State in Iran right now.
I mean, absolutely. The fact that the United States stood by as the Shah fell decades ago is really a stain on our legacy. So we have an opportunity. The fact that information is so it's everywhere. You can't control the flow of information. So these people in authoritarian governments, they see the rest of the world and they know what they could have. And so as authoritarian governments lose control of the flow of information, you're going to see these uprisings more and more. And particularly when you see what happened in Venezuela. I mean, this dictator, this strong man, head of a cartel that took over a country, I mean, he has been brought to justice. So there is hope for people that are being oppressed all over the world by these authoritarian governments, and they see what they could have. And so you're going to see this increase in frequency and in degree.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. Well, one of the places that people have always also been looking at is Minnesota. All of this fraud going on in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're hearing that up to 2,000 Border Patrol agents and ICE agents are going to be descending on that area in the next coming days. Tell us about the Minnesota oversight hearing that's coming up tomorrow.
We're going to have a fantastic time. First, I think we got to give credit where credit's due. Nick Shirley, this young entrepreneur, investigative journalist, did such an incredible job. But I think it's important that people realize that he did the job that the media should have done.
Yeah.
So the media is complicit. The media is absolutely complicit. And this all comes back to the Obama administration. They intentionally relocated hundreds of thousands of Somalis into one congressional district to give them Ilhan Omar, to create this nanny state state where they then funneled hundreds of millions, billions and billions of dollars, and it was all fraud. It was all fraud. And I mean, we're going to keep chasing where all this money came from and where it went to. I guarantee you this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we're talking with Congressman William Timmons. We did hear that people were actually threatened if they reported that, if they knew about the fraud and they reported it, they would be labeled as racist and all sorts of horrible things. Are you guys going to be looking at how deep this goes into the actual governor's office in Minnesota?
You're going to hear tomorrow there's a 2019 whistleblower complaint that was squashed, that was hidden, it's what they did is likely criminal. And that at that time, this was 6 years ago, they said at least $100 million a year. The numbers we're seeing now are $9 billion.
Yeah.
So $9 billion of our taxpayer dollars were fraudulently stolen by, tens of thousands of alleged Somali refugees. And I mean, this is just incredible. It's incredibly criminal, and I would say that the complicity or the ignorance of the government, of the state government, is why you see Governor Walz not running. I mean, He's not running because he's a loser, and because if he did run, he would have to answer questions about this. But guess what? He's still going to answer questions just in front of a federal prosecutor.
Exactly right. All right, end of the month, we're going to be running out of money again. Are we going to have another government shutdown?
I've heard some promising things from my friends on the Appropriations Committee, but I still don't know how they're going to come to an agreement. So I'm still in the shutdown likely, but I mean, it's incredibly irresponsible. I will vote to keep the government open, even if it is for a continuing resolution, because it costs billions of dollars every day that we shut the government down, and all the people that don't get paid get back pay, and we just lose incredible productivity. So it is irresponsible to shut the government down, and we need to do our job that the American people sent us here to do.
Absolutely. Congressman Timmons, it's going to be a very interesting year. We look forward to discussing it with you. You have a lovely evening. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Be well. Thanks for having me.
Take care. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of nonstop breaking news and stimulating talk jumpstarts every hour on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9
WORD,
the voice of the Carolinas. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, somebody over on the text line. Let me find it. Let's see. Here we go. Hey, Charlie, this is from 648. Charlie, what do you think about Drew McKissick's statement about the closing the Republican primaries? If it doesn't happen in the next session, he's going to take it to court. Okay, he did say that, and it's not just the Republican primaries. It's all primaries here in South Carolina. We have been talking about this for 19 years, closing the primaries in South Carolina. 19 years. Now, my thought is, do you believe that a state legislature who benefits from open primaries like gangbusters wants to close the primaries? Whenever we talk about Columbia or Washington and people say, hey, Charlie, and I got several of these people going on there on the text line that are asking this question, hey, Charlie, why don't they ... The answer is they don't, because they don't want to. They don't want to close the primaries in Columbia. So here's my question to Drew McKissick. If closing the primaries is so important, and we've got people in Columbia on the Republican side, supposedly, that are trying not to close the primaries, why then is the South Carolina GOP still supporting those candidates? Here's what should happen. The South Carolina GOP should keep a scorecard on these people. And they should use the South Carolina Republican Party platform, which, by the way, is a pretty darn good platform. If you haven't read it, you should. And anytime you violate the South Carolina Republican Party platform, it should be noted and it should be made public. From the SCGOP. Today, Davey Hyatt voted for this. This is against the Republican Party platform. Make a note, call them out. But remember, these are the same people that don't want the vote board, don't want photos to be taken of the vote board. Because I don't know if you've tried to look up who voted for a bill over there at the state legislature website. It's practically impossible. It is not user-friendly at all. So they should be the one. Instead of saying, we're going to take you to court, here's what you should be saying. We are not going to support you if you keep voting the way you're voting. So we got two bills. We got two bills that are coming up this year. The first bill is House Bill 3310. That's the one Drew McKissick is talking about. It says voters must register as a member of a certified political party to vote in that party's primary or partisan advisory referendum. Independent or unaffiliated voters could only vote in a party's primary if that party itself chooses to open its primaries to unaffiliated voters and notifies the State Elections Commission in advance. The bill outlines procedures for how voter registration and party affiliation data would be collected and maintained. As of this month, just this week, H 3310 remains in the House the House and has been referred to the Judiciary Committee. Then we've got another bill that was introduced back in May. This says voter registration will require selection of party affiliation. Change of party affiliation could only happen once a year and must be done well in advance of a primary. Primary elections would be closed. Only those registered with a party could vote in that party's primary, and the State Election Commission would have to implement procedures to enforce the new system. 4520 was introduced to the House Judiciary Committee, but hasn't advanced any further, of course. 3310 is a little bit broader in outlining about how independents could only vote if the party opts in, where 4520 ties party affiliation more tightly to voter registration system. So I'm on the 4520 side of this thing. Let's go to, where are we going? I want to go to Richard. Well, no, hold on. Let's go to Brad in Salem, up there in Oconee County. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. What's on your mind?
Well, you were on another subject that's galling me for years, and I'm on the side you're on that. But anyway, I wanted to put a little context into this this business of NPR, PBS, etc.
Yeah,
I'm old enough. I was when Corporation Public Broadcasting was established. It was during the good old days of LBJ and the Great Society, and all of that. And our Rockefeller Republicans, which were all Lindsey Graham types, in those days, went right along with it, and it all sounded good. But in those days, every area that had TV, you had NBC, ABC, CBS, and maybe one local affiliate, and they were all VHF.
Right.
Channel 2 through 13.
Yeah.
Most people had black and white TVs. Nobody had UHF. PBS started mostly on UHF.
Yeah.
You had to go buy another TV to get it. So this was not a thing established to reach out to areas that weren't being served and to give them this wonderful thing called TV.
Yeah, it's always been hard to get.
You had to be in a major metropolitan area. I'm from Henderson County, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
In those days, we were lucky to get Channel 13 WLOS out of Asheville. We couldn't get Greenville-Spartanburg.
Right.
And we got nothing, and which is why we always called WLOS. We lost our signal, and but that's the context. People today are sitting there thinking the things that they've been fed.
Right.
That this was some great government thing to bring it to the masses, and it wasn't.
It was always hard to get.
And it was always a thing, and it became more and more propaganda.
Yeah.
To put it pure and simple.
Sure.
And when people talk about, if it hadn't been for them, I wouldn't have known about this and that on these documentaries. Well, we used to know about them because we went to a place called the library.
Yeah.
And
exactly
we also had schools that taught us this stuff.
Exactly right.
And now I sit there and I watch things like stuff from Ken Burns and his ilk.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling at the TV. You left this out. You distorted that.
Right.
And,
exactly right. I mean, they've gone so left. Brad, I got to hit a break here, but buddy, you are absolutely spot on. Yeah, I remember those UHF days. That knob always broke, and you had to change it with needle nose pliers. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When he's not mowing his yard, he's mowing down liberal nonsense. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. Let's go to the phones. We'll talk to Robert in Morganton. How you doing, Robert?
Good evening, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Mondami?
Yeah.
His graft is hiring thousands of employees for new positions, new jobs that never were before in New York City. And the salaries that they are paid, it's going to blow the budget right under New York Harbor.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely hideous. It really is. So, but you know what? Hey, they get what they get, right?
Oh, God. I'm glad I moved out of New York.
I'll bet you are. I will bet you are. Absolutely. Let's go to Richard in Dallas. Richard, welcome. How are you? Richard, are you there, man?
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I am. Charlie.
Yes.
You got me?
I got you.
Hey, man, I love that eulogy. It made me cry for just about 2 seconds. And then you had a caller call in and said, the only thing that made it better would if you'd have done it in no Henry McTacker's voice because you do it well.
All right.
Listen, and you was talking to Timmons a while ago.
Right.
Right? And listen, he said, if the government shuts down, now I may be wrong on this, but he said if the government shuts back down again, it will inhibit or restrict the government's productivity.
Yeah.
Charlie. What in the Sam Hill does the government produce other than a welfare state?
Not a whole lot.
I mean,
well,
really.
wait a minute. There are some things that they do, like roads, bridges, federally, federal buildings and things like that.
Wait, let me back you up on that.
All right.
The federal government allots money to states to do that.
Yeah. All right. But
Right.
who's going to do that?
Now, are the states held accountable for that money? I don't think so, Charlie.
Okay.
Because if they were,
what's your point?
South Carolina, I don't think the government produces anything.
That's
my point, Charlie.
they're not.
Other
No,
than the welfare state.
you're right. Now,
that's my point. That's
well,
my point. The
to
government don't produce nothing.
To prove your point further, the government was shut down. We're the longest government shutdown in history. Did you notice anything in your life? Did anything in your life change?
No, sir, I did not.
No.
Did you?
No.
Did you?
And for 99.9% of Americans, nothing changed.
And I mean, what I get about, we call about this, and the people that get laid off are non-essential workers, but when the government opens it back up, they get back pay for nothing, for not doing nothing.
I got you.
Charlie.
I got you. I understand.
Charlie, I love you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, Richard.
He just a blabbermouth politician.
Well, they all are, actually. But they are, hey, it's just the way the game is played. All right, let's see what else. What else we got to talk? Let's talk a little bit about old, oh, by the way, I mentioned this to William Timmons just a few minutes ago. Keep an eye on Iran. Keep an eye on Iran. And I'll tell you more about that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Now, I've had some people ask me to read the eulogy for NPR again and public radio again. I'll leave it up to you guys on the text line. If you would like me to do it again, I will absolutely do that. But I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to hear the eulogy again? We'll do that. Charlie, how is your week? Week one of New Year's resolution. Mine's going pretty good. I really don't have a whole lot of New Year's resolutions. Haven't really started on one. And this is going to be tough. At the age of 62, almost, I'll be 62 next month. I have a goal to once again bench press my body weight. All right? So now look, I don't know how that's going to go. I'm going to give it my best shot. But right now we're looking at about 100 and hopefully I'll be even lower than that coming up by my birthday. But I will be, with the program I'm on. So I'm looking at bench pressing probably 190, right about 200 pounds. So that's my goal. In fact, I'll go ahead and make the goal a 200-pound bench press at the age of. That's not too bad, is it, JJ? Would you consider that bad? How much do you bench press? Do you even know? JJ said, I don't bench press. You don't even. JJ said, where they do that? Where they do that bench press stuff? I have no idea. But people get out there every day. They're out there. They're bench pressing. They're working out.
Why they do that?
I don't know why they do that, but they do. They do. Charlie, read the eulogy. I missed it because I was running errands. All right. Okay, I'll tell you what. Here's what I will do. In the next segment, I will read the eulogy again for you, and I'll try to do it a little bit better this time than I did the first time. Charlie, I never listened to NPR. Good riddance. And a lot of people feel that way. They really do. But listen to this. What we have seen, I mean, here we are, gosh, what is it, 2 weeks? On the 20th, coming up on the 20th of this month, will be 1 year since President Trump was sworn in. 1 year. And as far as I know, Congress, House and Senate, has only sent 6 bills to his desk. 6 bills, because the majority of them are held up in the Senate. They have wasted literally a year of the Trump presidency. A year. Because John Thune will not do away with the filibuster and get President Trump's initiatives rolling to make sure that this country gets back on track full steam. We just had the Dow close at what? 49,000 for the first time today? Am I right about that? Dow closes 49,000 for the first time. We got a 4.3 GDP growth. Gas prices are down. Food prices are down. I found ground beef today at $4.99 a pound. That's pretty darn good, considering what we have had here recently. And if Congress would just do away with the filibuster, the Senate, and pass his initiatives and these bills, we could really get this thing rolling. But they don't really want to do that. They don't want to do that. Because they don't want Trump to succeed. Trump is now telling Congress that they should insist on voter ID. Absolutely. Why is that not just common sense? President Trump pushed for voter identification legislation today while speaking at the House Republican retreat at the Trump Kennedy Center, and I love saying that, by the way. He started his remarks talking about voter ID in California. He said, you ought to have voter ID. You ought to insist on it. You ought to insist on it. In California, they not only don't have voter ID, but if a voting official, even asks somebody for voter ID, they put them in jail for tampering with the election. We've got to straighten this out before it gets too crazy. In Minnesota, listen to this. Let's say you go to the polls in Minnesota and you've got 8 friends with you. I'm not even lying about this, not even making this up. If you go to the polls in Minnesota and you've got 8 friends with you, you can vouch for those 8 friends. Oh, yeah, he's registered to vote. Yeah, he's a citizen. Yeah, she's good. She's good. Yeah, they're all good. You can do that. You can absolutely do that. So, yeah, we need voter ID. Let's go to Robert in Mills River. Robert, welcome.
How are you doing, Charlie?
I'm
Happy
good,
New
Robert.
Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, sir. What's on your mind?
All right. Well, Fang, I want to tell you did a great job voicing that eulogy you did there. I was coming home from work, driving in my van. I was like, man, that's a killer voice right there.
Well, I appreciate it.
And you did good. But another thing is that I hope they get Tim Walz a little harder than what they got him right now. He shouldn't
yeah.
be able to bow out. I hope they sock it to a bunch of their butts there.
Oh, I do too.
In Minnesota. And
I do too.
Man, we've been funding that. We've been funding. Think about the terrorism over in
In
that's
Somalia,
going on, and
yeah,
we funding
everywhere.
their military with our money, so that's treason to the U.S., Charlie.
I would
Damn
think it would
sound.
be. It sounds to me like it
Yeah.
is, Robert. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Streaming stimulating talk and breaking news on your phone 24/7 on the Odyssey app. You're on the drive with the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Okay.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. Let's go to John in Asheville. How you doing, John?
I'm doing all right. Hey, congratulations on your fitness goal.
Thank you.
Way to make strong men make good time.
That's right, buddy. Thank you. What's on your mind, pal?
So I'm a constitutionalist, right? A
Right.
literalist constitutionalist, as I think you are too. And on that, I gotta disagree with the voter ID,
Why is that?
because we all get guaranteed that right to vote unless we get disenfranchised for certain things that are spelled out. And that right to vote doesn't mean that a right to vote dependent on having a government document.
So you're saying that anybody could vote, they don't have to have ID, they don't even have to be an American citizen, right?
Well, it says in the Constitution you have to be an American citizen, but it doesn't say you have to prove it. And you prove it through the registration roll anyways as you go. So isn't it kind of like having a poll tax? Or like, how is it?
No, I don't think it's all like a poll tax. But let me ask you something. What's the difference between showing an ID when you register and showing an ID when you vote?
Well, you don't show an ID when you register.
Well, don't you think you ought to?
No, it's not in the Constitution. Aren't you a constitutionalist?
Not to the point where I want to allow the Democrats to cheat at every opportunity they get.
Oh.
So wait a minute, but wait a minute, hold on. You say that American citizens and only American citizens have the vote, right? Have the right to vote, right?
Aye.
Okay.
Not me. I don't. Constitution says it.
Okay. So if the Constitution says only American citizens should be able to vote, then how do you prove that you're an American citizen?
You do it during the registration process.
Okay. Well, how do you prove you're an American citizen during the registration process?
Show your voter ID number, which you get
when you register to vote.
Yeah.
So
I guess what I'm saying here is that there's not a legal pathway to making somebody show an ID. So should we have an executive order that overrides that, or a new constitutional amendment?
No, I don't think you need a constitutional amendment because you just showed me right now exactly the argument that you should be making. If the Constitution says only American citizens get the vote, how do you prove you're an American citizen?
Well, I think that you're trying to stretch the Constitution a little bit too far.
Wait, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm just using your words. You said the Constitution says only American citizens should be able to vote. So then, how do you prove you're an American citizen?
Which amendment is it?
Yeah, I don't know. You said it.
Oh. Well, hey, let me ask you something else. How do you feel about what's going on in Telluride right now?
I don't know anything about what's going on in Telluride. What's up with that?
The ski patrol is striking.
Okay.
For higher wages. They're shutting down the ski slopes.
Why are they? Oh, well, I don't know. I guess that's yeah. You did change topics there. I have no idea. I'll take a look into that eventually. All right. Some people have been wanting me to redo or reread the eulogy for NPR. And as I told you, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has decided to fold up stakes and leave town. They are no more. That means there's going to be no more funding federally for NPR and PBS. And without that money, we're going to have to say goodbye to them. So it's time to lay them to rest. Friends, patriots, and taxpayers, we are gathered here today to say goodbye to public broadcasting, taken from us far too late at too far higher cost. For decades, PBS and NPR told us that they were listener-supported, in the same way a 40-year-old living in his parents' basement is self-sufficient. They were the only networks where every show sounded like a hostage negotiation and every host whispered like they were afraid of waking up Karl Marx from a nap. Public broadcasting gave us Sesame Street before it went from teaching the alphabet to teaching pronouns. It gave us the Antiques Roadshow, where experts appraise heirlooms with the same enthusiasm they appraise socialism. And Masterpiece Theater, because nothing says working class America like a 9-hour British drama about a butler discovering his feelings. They claim to be unbiased, which is public broadcasting speak for we hate Republicans, but we say it in a soothing voice. Oh, those pledge drives. Those endless guilt-soaked fundraisers. If you don't donate, this programming will disappear. And the American people kept replying, promise? They would say for the cost of a cup of coffee, ... Yeah, from Starbucks in San Francisco with oat milk and emotional trauma foam. Public broadcasting never met a government program it didn't love, a regulation it didn't hug, or a conservative it didn't profile. They call themselves the voice of the people, which is interesting because people never sounded like that. They were the only place where capitalism was problematic, socialism was always misunderstood, and America was always in need of fundamental transformation. In other words, public broadcasting wasn't public. It was publicly funded activism. And now, as we lower this tote bag into the ground, let us remember public broadcasting the way it should be remembered: overproduced, overfunded, and overrated. No more will we be lectured by a guy named Kai about why truck drivers are the real problem. No more will we be scolded by a woman with a nose ring about how energy independence is a myth. No more will we be told that flyover country doesn't understand the nuance. Public broadcasting is survived by gender studies departments, European documentaries, and at least 3 interns named River. In lieu of flowers, the family asks you to send your tax dollars. Oh, wait a minute, too late for that. So rest in peace, public broadcasting. You lived on government life support. You died on political life support. And you will be remembered briefly on a podcast that no one listens to. And as the great American philosopher once said, don't let the door hit you where the tote bag split you. God bless, and God bless the American taxpayer. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Right now, 59.
Tap and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Larry in Cleveland. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing good, Charlie. I just got a quick question for you can straighten me out. I don't get it why somebody would call and lie about what they want to talk to you about and then disguise their phone number. What's the logic behind that?
There is none. There's no logic. It's just, I mean, these scam callers that they have coming in, and they just, it's the only way that they can get their point across.
But they have no point from my view.
They do have no point. But what they're trying to do, Larry, is they're trying to increase viewership over on their social media sites and on their YouTube channel.
Oh, I understand that. But
That's
they're
it.
wasting their time with you.
Yeah.
And I got another comment. Can I have a minute?
Absolutely, yeah.
Let me ask you. I mean, this guy just talked to you about ID.
Yeah.
I have to show an ID to get a fishing license. There's no big deal on that.
Yeah. What does the
What's the
Constitution say about that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not hiding nothing.
Right.
What's the big deal? If you're an American and a citizen, who cares? Here, this is who I am, and you should announce who you are. I mean, what's the big deal? Everybody should have a voter ID. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. You should absolutely have a voter ID, Larry. I appreciate it. Thank you. So the last caller before Larry was talking about what the Constitution said about voting. Well, what does the Constitution actually say about voting? 15th Amendment. No denial of vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. 19th Amendment. No denial of vote based on sex. 24th Amendment. No poll taxes in federal elections. 26th Amendment. No denial of vote for citizens 18 and older based on age. That's all. That's all the Constitution says about voting. That's it. But it does say no denial of vote for citizens 18 and older based on age. So it does mention the word citizen. And therefore, to me, according to the 26th Amendment, which was passed in 1971, that would mean you would have to prove that you're a citizen. Am I right? So for a so-called strict constitutionalist, wasn't too up to date on what happened back in 1971. But here's the other thing. Did you know that you are not, according to the United States Constitution, you do not have the right to vote for President of the United States? You see, according to the Constitution, each state designates electors to go to the Electoral College, and they vote for president. Now, no states do this anymore. Used to, they would. Used to, they would do that. But no states do that anymore because in each individual state's constitution, they lay out how voting is supposed to take place. So if you cannot deny the vote of a citizen 18 years or older, then you have to prove, number one, that you're a citizen, and number two, that you're 18 years or older. How about that? So, I mean, that to me seems pretty cut and dry. If I'm on the Supreme Court, I go, yeah, you got to prove that. Absolutely, yeah, you got to prove that. So, there you go. That's it. It's not strict constitutionalist. Oh, there you go. All right. So, over in Venezuela, we all know what's going on with Maduro. And you know what? We don't have much time to talk about it today, but we'll talk about Greenland tomorrow and what President Trump is talking about with Greenland. But over in Venezuela, let's see, there's a Venezuelan journalist, Germania Rodriguez Pelayo. She was over on Fox News. I want you to listen to what she had to say.
What's your reaction when you see people out there protesting to free Maduro?
it's disgusting, both as an American and as a Venezuelan. It's so obvious there's not one Venezuelan in those protests. These people are disrespecting our tragedy, are disrespecting our political prisoners, those we have lost, those who are still in Venezuela's jails, those who are still starving. It's absolutely shameful, and it's a matter, in my opinion, of a threat to national security, that our nation's youth and so many are willing to do this against victims of a criminal dictatorship.
So they're out there and they're protesting, and they're talking about no fascism, no fascist. And they got signs, no fascist. Okay, we agree with you. Just got rid of one. I mean, this guy is responsible over 330,000 deaths. Many people disappeared under Maduro. Many people were, as they say these days, unalived because of Maduro. But they support, they support an actual dictator while they're claiming that Trump is a dictator. Well, the leader of the opposition party over in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado, says she's willing to go back to Venezuela and run again.
Debe avanzar. Entendemos que Delcy Rodríguez.
Okay, you can't hear that very well, but I mean, yeah, do it. She said she'd win by 90%, which is approximately what Maduro lost by in the 2024 election before he declared himself the winner. Gosh, was it Jack Ryan? Y'all watch that television show, Jack Ryan? That's pretty darn good. I really like that. I wish that would come back on. But what they do is when you have these elections and then the sitting president is losing, they go in and shut the elections down. And that's what Maduro did. Be very weary. Be very weary of anybody in power that shuts down elections. And we're not just talking about Maduro. You can also look at Zelensky, and you can look at Keir Starmer over in England. Keir Starmer has shut down municipal elections in England because he wants to stay in power. Speaking of England, I got some military movement over there. We'll tell you about that coming up in just a few minutes. WRD Talk Line, 800-9050-989. That's also the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is Mark Levin. Join me tonight at 7 following Charlie James for the Mark Levin Show, a News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the phones and talk to Chuck in Mills River. How you doing, Chuck? Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you, man. I'm about as sick as my sense of humor right now.
Oh,
but,
no. You don't have the super flu, do you?
No. Something was going around like weeks ago, and I'm still hanging on to it with a cough. But that's okay.
All right.
That's okay. I'm alive. I got a new job, and I'm telling you, the Trump economy's working. I got a good job.
Good.
I mean, I'm telling you, things are going to turn around. Things are starting to pick up. I mean, even around here, after being beat the hell out of by Helene, things are starting to turn around a little bit. But I did want to wish everybody a very happy January 6th.
Yeah.
And don't forget it, people. Stick it in people's faces. I've been pestering my liberal friends all day about it. But this is everything that's going on right now. So I still think they got something going on down there around the Panama Canal. I think that's one of the reasons we're there. But, man, stick with our boy Trump.
Absolutely.
He's doing the right thing. He brought that drug dealing. But here's my take on the Maduro thing. Maduro flinched. He said, "Oh well, we'll take care of the drug thing and the oil thing," and that's what Trump was waiting for. He's like, "Yep, see,
yeah,
you all been saying it didn't come from Argentina. Here, guess what? It's here we are.
Now we got you.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, Chuck. Hey, man, you feel better, buddy, and good luck at that new job,
man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Year, both.
Happy New Year. Let's go to Philip in North Carolina. How you doing, Philip?
Hello. So if a high school student, a senior, were to ask me how does a person prove they're a U.S. citizen?
Mm-hmm.
What's a good thing? How do you prove you're a U.S. citizen?
Well, do you have a birth certificate that says you're a U.S. citizen?
Okay, so that would be one way.
Yeah.
Because I did ask myself the question. I said, "Well, gee, I guess I really don't know." I mean, you could say, "Well, I shop at Food Line, I shop at Lowe's and Ingles and Harris Teeter." Does that mean I got a pair of boots that says "Made in USA"?
Yeah.
I guess the truth is that so these people that are not citizens and they're in this country, probably about 30 million of them, and too many of them have a driver's license. A driver's license is not really a good proof of citizenship then.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, your birth certificate or your naturalization papers as well. Those are the way you do it. But you got to have documentation, Philip, and you need to be showing that when you go to vote. Let's go to D in Thomasy. How you doing, D?
Hey, doing good. Charlie, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing fantastic, man. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know how much I appreciate you every day.
Thank you.
Listen to you every day and appreciated and enjoyed so much the PBS NPR eulogy.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It was hilarious, but at the same time, so true.
Yeah, I appreciate it, D. Thank you, buddy. So I mean, when you look at it, I mean, they were just. I'm glad they're going away.
Well, exactly. You know, I mean, why should the taxpayers be on the hook or be supporting a evidently skewed propaganda network?
Yeah.
Of even though they do occasionally have a former callers said, you know, documentaries that are that are interesting.
Some are, but more and more, especially since 2016 when Trump won the election, they have just done like everybody else. I mean, they turned radically to the left.
Well, exactly.
And then, like I say, the NPR today is not the NPR of the 70s and 80s.
You're exactly right. I've listened to NPR and was a fan years ago, and it was interesting, but they changed and they became basically a political platform. Skewed to one side, and the taxpayer shouldn't be on the hook for that.
You're right about that, D. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much. And NPR was actually partially responsible for my wife becoming a Trump supporter. We went to go see Trump. It was down at North Charleston. It's a last-minute thing. We only had about 45 minutes heads up that he was going to be in Charleston. He was actually on his way to Columbia, and he got a call from the North Charleston Black Chamber of Commerce to come speak at the North Charleston Convention Center. And this was literally last minute. So he landed his flight early as he came up from Mar-a-Lago or New York, wherever he was. He came into Charleston, North Charleston, and we went and we watched Trump give this speech. It was amazing. It was the first time I'd seen him, first time my wife had seen him, first time a lot of people had seen him. This is early days in the election when he was really a novelty. And we got into the car, and for some reason I had NPR on, and what they said on NPR about that event, my wife looked at me and she said, none of that is true. None of that is true. And I was like, yep, that's how they are. And I'm telling you what, since that first, I wouldn't even call it a rally appearance by Donald Trump at that time, she's been a rabid supporter of President Trump. Okay, keep an eye on the Middle East. Keep an eye on it. Listen to this. This is from GBN over in England, over in London.
Well, Dawn, there has been a lot of overnight and early morning movement from the United States Air Force. We've seen several C-17 heavy lift air cargo planes arriving into two RAF bases where the US has extensive presence, which is Mildenhall in Suffolk and RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire. What you're seeing on your screens right now is an AC-130J gunship that arrived into the United Kingdom this morning. Now, it's been around for several decades, but that particular variant is known for close air support, usually supporting special forces on the ground and providing a lot of oversight. It's also important to note that the two air bases where these C-17 aircraft have arrived from in the United States, in Kentucky and in Georgia. Now, they are from the same air bases that provided the forces we saw launching that daring raid on Caracas in Venezuela. That is, they host the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. Now, what could they be doing? Could they be in the United Kingdom, this surge in activity, to prepare for further deployments beyond the UK? Could they be heading to the Middle East?
A little part of me hopes Trump takes over the UK, but I know that's not going to happen. Probably going to be something going on in Iran very, very soon. Over the past several hours, dozens of U.S. Air Force aerial refueling tankers and heavy military transport aircraft from the C-5 and C-17 types have departed from the United States and from American air bases into the United Kingdom, headed toward the Middle East, they say. We don't know about that. We've had no confirmation on that. Some people are speculating that this is, according to sources, United States preparing for strikes against Iran, and the ongoing movement reflects the transfer of forces to the region. We will keep an eye on that, of course, because you never know what's going to happen with all of that. So we will see. We will see what happens with all of this. All right, folks, we are going to get out of here. I want you to have a lovely, lovely evening, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. As always, we love you. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.
When the left spins, Charlie sets it straight. It's the Charlie James Show on